Hey guys, and welcome to the 6th Ranger. Today we will be covering the full stories of the original Mighty Morphin Power Ranger team. That includes Jason Lee Scott, TRINI KWAN, KIMBERLY and HART, ZACK Taylor, Billy Cranston and Tommy Oliver. Now, just to explain before we get into it, this is a collection of videos previously made. I have got a very busy week moving my business from one location to another, so rather than going a week without a video, I figured I would put these together and give you something to watch. Many of you have been asking for longer form content, so here is a test to see how you guys enjoy it. Hopefully this isn't too boring, but I thought I'd explain the situation just in case you wondered why there was a difference in some of the audio quality. I do sound a little different from video to video, so hopefully you understand why. Especially the Jason video, as that was my first video ever. Anyway, hope you enjoy and let's get into it. So very little is known about Tommy's early life. We know that he was adopted and that he had a brother named David, but he would not meet his brother until much later into his life. It was in his teens that Tommy and his family moved to Angel Grove. He was already a very skilled and formidable martial artist, and his first introduction to the people that would later become his Ranger teammates was through a martial arts tournament. He was the new kid, showing off his impressive kicks and acrobatics, getting into his opponent, Jason's head. Despite Jason being referred to as Angel Grove's finest by the announcer, the fight ended in a tie. It was enough to earn a mutual respect between the two fighters, both recognizing the other's skill as a martial artist. Tommy also caught the eye of Kimberly when he scared away school bullies Bulk and Skull when they began to harass Kim near her locker. It didn't take long before Kimberly invited Tommy to hang out with her and her friends. However, Jason and Kimberly were not the only ones that had taken notice of Tommy's desirable attributes. Rita Repulsa had also seen his potential during his fight with Jason. She had been keeping her 6th power coin a secret, waiting for the right opportunity to use it. She decided that now was that time, so she cast a spell on Tommy, and using the 6th coin, the Dragon Coin, she turned Tommy into the evil Green Ranger. The Green Ranger's first action was to head straight to the command center, which he was allowed to access due to the coin in his possession. He then uploaded a virus to Alpha 5's programming and put Zordon out of action. The Rangers attempted to fight him, but the Green Ranger swiftly defeated them. While under Rita's spell, Tommy was very rude to Kimberly and the others back in school, but at this point, they still did not make the connection that he may have had something to do with the mysterious Green Ranger. With the Rangers now at their most vulnerable, Rita decided that now was the time to attack. But first, Rita wanted to test Tommy. So she sent a group of putties to attack him, and after Tommy had defeated them, without his powers, Rita gave him the Sword of Darkness, which not only enhanced his dark powers, but also acted as a catalyst of sorts for keeping him under her evil spell. She then had Tommy transport Jason into the Dark Dimension, where he faced Goldar. Tommy decided to take the honor of finishing off the Red Ranger from Goldar and face Jason himself, though Jason did manage to escape when the other Rangers teleported him out. A while later, Goldar grew and attacked Angel Grove. While the Rangers were distracted, defending the city, the Green Ranger took the opportunity to attempt to sabotage the command center once more. Alpha placed him in some kind of stasis shield, but he was soon freed by Rita. He then joined Goldar and Scorpina in the fight against the Rangers. Now being outmatched and overwhelmed, their Megazord defeated, the Rangers retreated back to the command center. It was here that Alpha 5 revealed to them that when the Green Ranger was in the stasis shield, his true identity had been revealed: Tommy Oliver. Now understanding the reason behind Tommy's strange behaviour, Kimberly decided to confront Tommy at the youth centre. But he told her that not only did he know the identities of all the Rangers, but that they would soon be destroyed. Using his Dragon Dagger that he recently received from Rita, he summoned his own Zord, the Dragon Zord. He intended to use the mighty Dragon Zord to destroy the rest of Angel Grove, but during this time, Alpha had re-established Zordon's link with this dimension and recovered the Megazord. This meant that the Rangers could take on the Dragon Zord, but this time not outnumbered, so they were able to defeat the Green Ranger's Zord. A fight then broke out on the ground between Jason and the Green Ranger, a rematch to the tournament, but this time with dire consequences. Tommy had the upper hand on Jason for the majority of the fight, demonstrating the true power of the Dragon Coin. However, Jason eventually turned the tables and managed to destroy the Sword of Darkness, which released Tommy from Rita's spell. After realizing the chaos and destruction that he had caused, Tommy felt terrible, but the others assured him that it was Rita's doing and not his own. They offered him a place in the team, and after agreeing to Zordon's terms for being a Ranger, he accepted, becoming the first ever 6th Power Ranger. Initially, Tommy started off as a bit of a loner. He would occasionally join in with the Rangers in some of their activities, but would often leave early to train and practice martial arts. But as the battles increased, Tommy became closer to the team and formed close friendships with them. He also had a crush on Kimberly, and the two eventually began dating. Tommy's friendship with Jason took a little longer to develop, however. In the beginning, there was a sense of rivalry between them, as both were equally skilled martial artists. He constantly tried to show up Jason. Zordon was actually aware of the problem and sent the two on a mission to recover special blasters protected by the Zord called Titanus to defeat Rita's Super Putties. It was there that Tommy and Jason learned to work together. The two then formed a deep bond and began teaching martial arts together as well as competing together. Tommy took on a lot of Jason's leadership skills, which would help him down the road ahead. Then, one day while out walking with Kimberly, Tommy was attacked and captured by Goldar, then taken to Rita's dark dimension. Goldar revealed that the material that had once encased Tommy and turned him evil was actually some kind of magic wax, which was linked to his morphin powers. By turning the wax into a green candle, Rita was able to ensure that as the candle burned, his powers would slowly fade away, and when the candle finished burning out, she would reclaim his powers for good. And the candle would burn faster if Tommy was in its vicinity, so Rita had commanded Goldar to kidnap Tommy and take him to the dimension where the candle was kept. Then, during a fight with Goldar, Tommy managed to take Goldar's sword and send himself back to Earth. Rita responded by sending a shape-shifting Cyclops monster into the city. While the other Rangers went to retrieve the candle, Tommy decided that he would fight the monster alone. Jason then went into the dark dimension to stop the candle from burning, but he was unable to do so due to Goldar's intervention. With Tommy using all of his strength to fight the monster, Jason and the Rangers had to return to help him, but the green candle quickly burned out. Before all was lost, Zordon told Tommy to give his coin to another Ranger with a strong link to the morphing grid to prevent Rita from getting his powers. Tommy chose to pass his Dragon Coin on to Jason. The Red Ranger was now able to draw upon the remnants of the Green Ranger powers to use the Dragon Shield in battle and also use the Dragon Dagger to summon the Dragon Zord. After saying his goodbyes to his teammates, Tommy assured Jason that it wasn't his fault for not retrieving the green candle, as he tried his best to do so. Even though Tommy was no longer the Green Ranger, he still managed to stay friends with the rest of the Rangers and maintained his relationship with Kimberly. In one of Rita's next evil plans, she kidnapped the parents of the Power Rangers, demanding their power coins in exchange for their safety. With no other choice, the Rangers eventually agreed. Though Jason handed over his Tyrannosaurus power coin, he still had the Dragon Coin. When Tommy came to the youth center and found the place deserted, he was immediately teleported to the command center and debriefed on the situation. He agreed to help, but with his powers completely gone, Tommy had to accept an enormous power boost from Zordon and became the Green Ranger once more. After fighting Goldar and retrieving the Dragon Dagger and the coins, he had received enough of a power boost to maintain his powers a little longer, even though there was a huge risk of them giving out at any moment, even during a battle. Tommy decided to remain an active Ranger while he could. Returning to the team, Tommy helped the Rangers in fighting various monsters. Though Zordon did caution him about his limited power supply, Tommy was always battle ready if called upon. He no longer kept a low profile and became a lot more involved with the Rangers, helping to unify the team. However, all this happiness would suddenly change when a new villain, Lord Zed, emerged. Determined to succeed where Rita had failed, Zed swore that he would put an end to the Rangers once and for all. When the Dinozords appeared to be no match for Zed's power, Zordon changed them to become Thunderzords. With Tommy not having enough power for his own Thunderzord, Zed realized the Green Ranger was the team's weakest link and soon began to target him specifically. Before long, one of Zed's monsters, named Turban Shell, drained Tommy of some of his power. Zed had then kidnapped 5 teenagers and planned to turn them into the Dark Rangers. Tommy was the only one that was able to go and destroy the crystal that held his powers. He succeeded and used his powers for one last morph to destroy Turban Shell. Tommy was of course sad that the Green Ranger powers were truly gone forever, but he had known that this time would come eventually. To gain some perspective, he went to his uncle's cabin near the lake to spend the school break. Then, despite a few future appearances through evil magic or eventually the Master Morpher, That is it for the story of the Green Power Ranger. Before becoming a Power Ranger, Jason Lee Scott was already a talented martial artist who enjoyed teaching others. Like his fellow future Power Rangers, he grew up and lived in the city of Angel Grove and attended Angel Grove High School. Jason taught martial arts classes at Ernie's Juice Bar and Gym, a place that Jason and his friends liked to work out and hang out in. One fateful day though, as Jason finished conducting one of his classes and was chatting with his best friends ZACK, Billy, TRINI and KIMBERLY, an earthquake began across Angel Grove. As Ernie's emptied out, Jason and his friends felt themselves being lifted and teleported along in streams of coloured lights. They landed in a pile on top of each other in a strange place. As Jason and the others examined their surroundings, a robot by the name of Alpha 5 approached them. As Jason was taking this all in, an even more strange sight awaited him. In an energy tube of blue light was a huge floating head who introduced himself as Zordon, and explained that Jason and the others had been chosen by him to fight evil in the form of Rita Repulsa. In order to do so, Zordon said that he would grant the 5 teens the power to become a fighting force known as the Power Rangers. The then further explanation of dinosaur Zords and Power Morphers threw ZACK and the others off, except for Jason. As ZACK was leading the group out, Jason lingered. He was a natural born leader, and the idea of him being some sort of modern day hero appealed to him greatly. Very reluctantly, Jason followed his friends out of the command center.
This is just too weird for me. I tell you what, it's been real, but I gotta go.
Yeah, see ya.
Y'all coming? Jason,
What?
let's go, man.
Yeah.
Once outside the building, Jason tried to persuade the others that maybe they should give this a shot. They didn't get too far. Before Jason's eyes, a group of very strange beings were standing before him and the others. The beings were putties, Rita's evil henchmen. At first, Jason and the others fought with all their might, but they were swiftly defeated, realizing they did not have the strength to defeat the putties. Jason encouraged everyone to use their power morphers. Jason morphed into the red Mighty Morphin Power Ranger for the first time. With these new powers, Jason and the other Rangers made quick work of the putties. When Rita unleashed her second-in-command, Goldar, on Angel Grove, Jason led the other Power Rangers in summoning their Zords and combining them into the Megazord, which they used to successfully force Goldar into retreating. Elated with their victory, the group went back to the command center. Unable to suppress the grin on his face, Jason quickly told Zordon that he was more than willing to continue defending the world from evil. Thus, Jason became the leader of the Power Rangers and a formidable force of good against evil. As a Ranger, Jason's most defining character trait is his desire to be a good leader. When anything goes wrong, Jason is the first of the team to attempt to correct it. Whenever anyone is in danger, Jason is always the first to rally the other Rangers to save them. In Green with Evil, Jason was the only Ranger who refused to give up when Rita and the Green Ranger seemed to gain the upper hand. However, his most defining characteristic is also his greatest weakness, much more so than any other Red Ranger that has come since. Jason will beat himself up over and over again at the slightest failure. For years he blamed himself for allowing Tommy to lose his Green Ranger powers. In the episode Missing Green, when his best friend ZACK tried to explain that it wasn't his fault, Jason would have none of it, insisting that he should have done something. This self-blame continued all the way into Zeo, where he at one point stated that he let down Tommy once before, referencing his failure to retrieve the green candle that zapped Tommy's powers, and he would not let it happen again. So after the actual arrival of Tommy Oliver, the Green Ranger, which is a story for another video if you guys are interested, Jason was constantly trying to upstage Tommy, especially on the karate mat. Neither wanted to cooperate with the other. Luckily, after Zordon sent them on a mission together, they realized that they could accomplish so much more by trusting each other and working together, and they became great friends from then on. The arrival of a new evil, Lord Zed, proved to provide the Rangers with much tougher battles, and it was not much longer before Tommy eventually lost his powers when Lord Zed used special candles to drain the power of the Rangers. Jason was able to save the power of all of his friends, except for Tommy. Jason blamed himself for the team losing the strength of the Green Ranger, and for one of his best friends losing his powers. Eventually, Tommy wrote a letter to Jason, explaining that it was not his fault, and he did not blame him for what happened. With this burden lifted from his shoulders, Jason was able to continue leading his team into their various battles. He was also able to win a martial arts competition called the Golden Pipe Tournament, and he dedicated his new trophy to Tommy. Soon after, Zordon and Alpha created a new Ranger to help fight against Lord Zedd's more powerful monsters. Much to Jason's surprise and happiness, it was Tommy. Tommy was the White Ranger and the new leader of the Power Rangers. Jason very graciously let the mantle of leadership go from his shoulders and onto Tommy's, becoming the new second in command. Things were changing for the original team. A peace conference was coming up and 3 students from Angel Grove were to be selected. Much to his amazement, Jason, along with ZACK and TRINI, were selected to go. At first, they were not sure if they should go due to the Rangers' duties, but Zordon knew the trio would be a great help at the peace conference. Zordon selected 3 new Rangers in their place. They turned out to be Rocky, Adam, and Aisha, 3 new students who had assisted the Rangers in several missions. Jason's last mission was to go and get a sword that would allow his powers to be transferred. With Zordon's approval, Jason transferred his powers into Rocky, and with Zordon's blessing, Jason, ZACK, and TRINI left for the peace conference. Jason was not seen again then for years as he was helping out at the peace conferences around the world. Years later, during the Zeo years, when Trey of Triforia crash-landed on Aquitar, he was injured and split into his 3 forms of Wisdom, Courage, and Heart. Because of this, he was unable to control the Gold Ranger powers, and could not again until these 3 forms were able to rejoin as one. And if the powers were not transferred temporarily during that time, the powers would be lost for good. Tommy considered Jason for the job, and later found Jason and brought him to the power chamber. Jason thus became the second Gold Zeo Ranger, wielding the Golden Power Staff. Unbeknownst at first to Jason, his successor, Rocky, had felt himself being left out and being replaced by the Ranger he replaced. When Rocky tried to take on King Mondo himself, Jason and the others came to help in time, and Jason assured Rocky that not only was he a valued teammate, he was Jason's friend. Later, Jason and the Rangers came to the realization that his powers were going away, along with his life, for the Gold Ranger's powers were meant for Triforian physiology, not human. As he tried to run from Cogs, his power was deteriorating as he wore himself out. Luckily for him, Zed and Rita confronted Mondo and his machine empire on sight, leading to a brawl between the two that gave Jason time to escape. He came to the juice bar and collapsed from exhaustion. He was taken to the power chamber where he was analysed. There, it was realised that if Trey did not return to normal and his powers were not reclaimed, they would be lost forever, taking Jason's life in the process. The Rangers took Jason to the site where the 3 Treys could reunite after a beam shot from Earth bounced onto Aquitar, Triforia, and then back to Earth. As Jason held up his staff, the powers were successfully reclaimed and Jason's life was saved. He later was saddened since he had to give up his powers. He was comforted by Tommy after contemplating on his own, which made Jason realise that there was more to life than just saving the world. He left the Power Rangers once more. So after Jason had been inactive as a Ranger for a few years, he was called on by his old friend Tommy once more, along with 8 other Red Rangers on Earth. The Rangers travelled to the Nasada headquarters, where they grouped together and were informed of their mission. Jason, however, was late. Tommy stated that he doubted Jason would even show up, but Cole Evans heard the sound of a motorcycle and saw Jason riding up on the bike. He joined the rest of the Red Rangers on the Astro Megaship Mark II, as they discussed the threat that the remnant of the Machine Empire posed. Jason remembered Lord Zedd's old Zord, Serpentera, since he had faced it before during his last mission as the Red Ranger, and he commented that if the Machine Empire obtained the Zord, it would have been enough power to destroy Earth. So the team travelled to the moon and were able to dock the megaship without detection. In battle, Jason displayed his lasting acrobatics and karate skill, demonstrated he still had the power within him. When all 10 Red Rangers were eventually lined up, Jason led them into their respective morphing sequences, himself morphing into the red Mighty Morphin Power Ranger once again. Once all 10 Rangers were ready for battle, they engaged in combat against the 5 generals, fighting 2 against 1. Jason and the newest Red Ranger at the time, Cole, fought against the enemy leader. Cole was beaten in the first sequence in combat, and Jason was able to interfere and knock back the general. He then showed off his prowess and experience, while referring to Cole as a rookie in the process. By easily overwhelming and nearly defeating the general, he then allowed Cole, the newbie, to finish off the enemy with a special attack. However, the enemy general was able to get away by fending off the veteran and rookie rangers with a blast and boarded Serpentera. He then took off with the Zord, preparing to leave the moon to destroy the Earth. Jason suggested that the team of Rangers return to the megaship to stop Serpentera, but one of the other Rangers knew that they had to stop the Zord before it left the moon. With this, Cole boarded his Wild Force Rider and was able to ultimately destroy Serpentera from inside.
After the display, Jason admitted he was impressed by Cole's antics. The team was then able to return to Earth, where they said their goodbyes. After Cole stated that Tommy was the greatest Ranger ever, the other Red Rangers disagreed jokingly. Jason stated that he was the one doing all the work while Tommy had hit on Kimberly at the juice bar. The question of how Jason regained his powers for the Forever Red special has not actually been established, although one theory suggests that Jason supposedly got his powers back sometime after the events of Marvel Comics' Ninja Rangers Issue 3, Dark Thunder, in which Lord Zedd created a second team of Dark Rangers. It was stated by one of the writers at the Power Morphicon that Jason took the Power Morpher from the defeated Dark Red Ranger and used this in Forever Red. However, other fans believe that Jason's old Morpher could have somehow been reactivated due to it never truly being lost, since he still kept his Morpher and Red Ranger costume when his power was transferred to Rocky by the Sword of Light. He also kept his old communicator, which he wears in Forever Red, though he isn't shown actually using it. It is believed that Jason's Power Morpher remains active after the events of Forever Red, much like the powers of the 5 veteran Rangers from the Once a Ranger episode, but this is not confirmed. Some speculation is made that Jason's original powers were merely copied and then transferred to Rocky as a spare, while Jason was able to keep his own Ranger powers independent from the morphing grid. If this is true, it would most likely mean that ZACK and TRINI also retained their range powers, after being replaced by Adam and Aisha. However, this theory would be somewhat debunked by the fact that Jason never used his Red Ranger powers during the time on Zeo, or during the events of the Turbo movie. Jason and the other Mighty Morphin Power Rangers actually returned as part of the army of the legendary Rangers led by Tommy that helped the Mega Rangers defeat the Armada once and for all, fighting in a huge battle against hundreds of X-Borgs and dozens of bruisers. When the Dino Charge Rangers, Ravi, Zoe, Nate and Steel were defeated by the army of villains on the Dino Charge's world, Devon was left trying to find a way to call for help. With the aid of a meteor that crashed into him and Cruz, he entered a Morph X tower and used the morphing grid to call for help. The meteor became the Tyrannosaurus Power Coin and brought in Jason. Learning of the situation and that one of the monsters was Goldar Maximus, he agreed to aid his junior in the fight. The two met up with the fallen Rangers, and after re-empowering them, Jason recruited the Dino Charge team to lead a full frontal assault while the Beast Morphers team attacked from behind. When Goldar Maximus and the rest of the army arrived, Jason summoned his old Mighty Morphin teammates and the Dino Rangers to defeat the army. When the enemy summoned his massive Chimera Zord, he joined in summoning the Megazord and aiding in its defeat. With the enemy retreating, the teams departed, but Jason was more than proud to know that there would always be Rangers around to protect the world.
Kimberly was born and raised in Angel Grove, California. She was eventually chosen to be the Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger due to her grace and intelligence. Her 4 teammates were coincidentally her closest friends: Jason Lee Scott, Zack Taylor, Billy Cranston and Trini Kwan. Kimberly received the Pterodactyl Power Coin and the Pterodactyl Dino Zord, thus becoming the Pink Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. Many of the first Rangers also had some sort of athletic ability before becoming Rangers, and Kimberly was a skilled gymnast. This helped her during her time as a Ranger, being able to turn her physical awareness and flexibility into a martial arts ability. A big part of Kimberly's story throughout Mighty Morphin is her relationship with Tommy Oliver, the Green and White Ranger. Their relationship is present throughout the majority of their time together on the series, but when Kim made the decision to leave the team, the existence of their relationship was questioned. But we will get to that soon. So, midway through Season 3, Amy Jo Johnson, the actress that played Kimberly, requested that Kimberly be written out of the show because she wanted to pursue other opportunities in acting. The character was accommodated with a 10-episode story arc that focused on Kimberly, leading up to her departure. Kimberly and Aisha adopt a stray cat called PC, who is actually in a secret form of Rita's new spy, Catherine Hillard. Catherine also spies on the Rangers in her human form. She ultimately ends up developing feelings for Tommy and becomes jealous of Kimberly's relationship with him. She steals Kimberly's power coin. With the coin in evil hands, Kimberly's very life force is now in danger. Lord Zedd kidnaps Kimberly and uses her as a ransom for the other Rangers, but they end up rescuing her. Zordon then disconnects Kimberly's connection to the morphing grid, forcing her to receive power from the other Rangers, much like Tommy had to do when he was losing his Green Ranger powers. Tommy consoled Kimberly throughout most of this time, just as she had done previously for him. Meanwhile, Kimberly caught the interest of a world-renowned gymnastics coach, Gunther Schmidt, and so she began training for the preliminaries of the Pan Global Games. As she trained, Rita and Zed plotted to exploit this and tire Kimberly in battles. They succeeded and she falls off the balance beam while training and injures herself. However, this event breaks Rita's spell over Catherine, who calls an ambulance and convinces Kimberly not to give up on gymnastics. Catherine also returns the power coin back to Kimberly. She decides to make the tough decision of pursuing her dream of gymnastics, thus leaving the Ranger team, because, you know, gymnastics is way more important than saving the world. Anyway, when Zordon allows Kimberly to give up her Ranger duties to participate in the Pan Global Games, Kimberly chooses Catherine to replace her as the Pink Ranger. Then, if we are covering this chronologically, Kimberly would later star in a comic book miniseries published by Boom Studios. This series is a modern remake, so not to necessarily be considered canon, but it also serves as a continuation from Kimberly's exit in the 3rd season of Mighty Morphin. After handing her powers over to Kat, Zordon uses the Sword of Light to activate the latent pink energy within Kimberly to make her a Ranger once again. As the main team of Power Rangers at this point are away, in this series Kimberly asks ZACK and TRINI to join her on a mission as the Yellow and Black Rangers respectively. She later recruits 2 French siblings as the Blue Male Ranger and Red Female Ranger. In forming this new team of Power Rangers, Kimberly effectively becomes the leader. The events that take place in this series lead up to Kimberly writing her letter, which Tommy eventually receives in Power Rangers Zeo. Now, in the show, Kimberly was actually next mentioned in Zeo, where she broke up with Tommy by way of a Dear John letter, basically telling him she has found someone else and moved on. Poor Tommy. Though he would later become romantically involved with Kimberly's replacement Catherine, so you can't feel too sorry for him. Kimberly and Jason Lee Scott, the original Red Ranger, returned to Angel Grove in Turbo, a Power Rangers movie. In that film, they were kidnapped by Divatox and later possessed by her betrothed Malagor. The appearance occurs without much fanfare, with Tommy and Kimberly never even speaking. Again, it's hard to consider the Turbo movie as canon, but many fans do take many of the events as such, so that's totally up to you. Kimberly would reappear with the Mighty Morphin Rangers in a more substantial role in Power Rangers Super Megaforce. Here, she served as part of a massive team of legendary Rangers led by Tommy to aid the current Rangers in defeating the evil Armada. It isn't revealed as to how the original Rangers got their powers back, nor is it suggested that they have been operating as Rangers again before this fight. Unfortunately, she only appears in her masked, morphed appearance and largely just blends in with the crowd of Rangers. Then in Power Rangers Beast Morphers, she responds to Jason's signal and returned alongside her fellow Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as part of the legendary Dino Rangers army. When Evox summoned his massive Chimera Zord, her team joined in summoning the Megazord and aiding in its defeat. With Evox on the run again, the teams departed and Kim returned to her normal life. While very little is known on the Pink Ranger's fate beyond this, alternate versions of the character actually appear in Boom Studios comic book spin-offs, as well as the 2017 Power Rangers movie. So Billy was one of 5 teenagers selected by Zordon to become the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. He was given the Triceratops Power Coin and Dinozord and became the Blue Power Ranger. Billy began the series as the stereotypical nerd. The other Rangers, especially Trini, often defended him very loyally, but Billy would later evolve to become a strong individual in his own right. He was one of the top members of the Angel Grove High School's science club and often helped its younger members with their experiments. In the episode High Five, Billy created not only the wrist communicators that the Power Rangers used, but also the interface that allowed the devices a remote access to the command center's teleportation unit, meaning the Rangers can teleport whenever they want as long as they have their communicators. Each of Billy's teammates have a unique skill to offer the team, and in Billy's case, it was his vast intelligence. He sought out to also improve himself physically, and the audience would see him transition over time from the suspenders wearing Bryan to a confident, hyper-intelligent athlete with commendable fighting skills, thanks in great part to Trini's uncle Howard, though Jason and later Tommy helped graduate Billy to the red belt level in karate. Billy's intelligence would help the Rangers save the world on many occasions. When the command center was damaged, Zordon had been lost and Alpha incapacitated, it was his invention, a car called the Radbug, that allowed the Rangers to travel to the command center. He performed a wide array of tasks, ranging from creating the method for which the Rangers would use to initially infiltrate Rita's dark dimension, to disarming the lockout mechanism for Alpha's activated self-destruct, and many, many other achievements. Though Billy did manage to attract the girls' attention earlier in his nerd-like persona, it was after he began his journey towards self-improvement that he would later garner more attention with romantic interests, even more so than the other members of the team. Billy would later gain new powers from Ninja, who gave him the Wolf Power Coin, and he became the Blue Ninja Ranger. Small side note here guys, if you want to learn more about Ninja, I released a video all about him last week, so be sure to check that out if you are interested. At the end of Mighty Morphin, the Rangers are de-aged and turned back into kids thanks to a spell performed by Rita Repulsa's father, Master Vile. Billy devised a plan to restore the Rangers' ages using a machine that ran off the power coins. Billy restored himself, but Rito and Goldar stole the machine, and Lord Zed and Rita destroyed all 6 ninja power coins. With his Wolf Ninja Coin destroyed and his Triceratops Power Coin damaged beyond use, Billy's role changed. He was no longer an active Power Ranger, but rather acted solely as an advisor and a supporter to the team. Billy acted in this period as a liaison between the Aquitian Rangers and Earth. He would officially retire from Ranger service as the 6-man team now only had 5 segments of the Zeo Crystal as a power source for each member of the team, allowing Tanya to take his place while he continued his support role by creating and maintaining most of the weaponry, gadgets and Zords the Zeo Rangers would use. Now on to Power Rangers Zeo. Before the Gold Zeo Ranger's identity was revealed as Trey of Triforia, the writers left several red herrings to mislead viewers into believing that the Gold Ranger was actually Billy, since he was never around when the Gold Ranger was around. When Trey returned to Triforia on sabbatical to try and unify his 3 selves, Billy was selected to assume the Gold Ranger's powers. However, the negative proton energy that his body had absorbed in the command center's explosion prevented him from taking the powers. Instead, it was Jason Lee Scott, the former Red Ranger, that received these powers. By the time of Jason's return in the show, it's actually shown that Billy has worked his way all the way up to a black belt in karate. He was last seen in 2 of the final Zeo episodes suffering from accelerated aging, a side effect from the regenerator he used to restore his proper age. To counteract this, he travelled to Aquitar for a cure from their eternal falls, which would restore his real age. After that, he chose to remain there with Cestria, a female Aquitian with whom he had fallen in love with. So, what happened to him after this? Well, let us start with the theory that everyone loves to talk about: the Phantom Ranger. A mysterious ally to the Rangers in Power Rangers Turbo, the Phantom Ranger's identity was never revealed. However, an executive producer on both Turbo and in Space named Judd Lin stated that if he had to give the character an origin story, he definitely would have made him a past Ranger, and most likely would have chosen Billy. Of course, this shouldn't be considered canon, but many fans love this idea and have just chosen to accept it. Personally, I think it's a really cool theory, and certainly possible. I just don't understand why Billy would keep his identity hidden. That's the part that doesn't really make sense to me. So the next time we really hear Billy mentioned is in the Soul of the Dragon comic book, which is a canonical continuation of Tommy's story with the Master Morpher. It's stated in this that Billy Cranston may have been the one to actually create the Master Morpher. Though it's not confirmed that he did, the fact that he was an option leads me to believe that he did return to Earth. We know that the alien Rangers have been back to Earth, so there's certainly no reason why Billy couldn't come back. Especially at such a young age, moving planets for good, away from all friends and all family, it just seems a little drastic. I would assume he returned to Earth and assisted and advised other Ranger teams in the background. Especially the ex-main Rangers. The Rangers that never specifically lost their powers, such as Tommy or Adam. We have seen that they still have the ability to morph. So even though they aren't the main Rangers anymore, I don't see why they would have straight up stopped helping people. So my theory is that Billy returned to Earth and became a new guide and advisor for ex-Rangers. Almost like the new Zordon. At least, that's what I like to think happened. What do you guys think of this theory? If you have any other theories, please let me know in the comments down below. I absolutely love reading fan theories, and if there are any I like, I may even do a video on them. Crediting you guys, of course. So very little is known about Trini's past. That is until one day when she was working out at Ernie's juice bar and gym along with her friends. Suddenly the ground began to shake and Trini and her friends were transported to the command center. The being there known as Zordon had selected her and her friends to become the Power Rangers. Kimberly and Zack rejected Zordon's proposal immediately, but Trini, Billy and Jason lingered for a moment longer. The idea of protecting people from evil appealed to the gentle and kind nature of Trini. With the others calling them, Trini, Billy and Jason left the command center. Outside the building, they were confronted by another strange sight: putties. Trini fought with all of her might, but the putties were just too strong. Then, without hesitation, Trini activated her power coin that Zordon had given them and became the first yellow Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. Needless to say, after morphing into a Ranger, Trini made quick work of the putties. She also took up the challenge that Zordon placed before her, protecting Angel Grove and the Earth from Rita and her minions. So, along with her teammates and best friends, the Rangers saved the world from many monster attacks sent by Rita Repulsa. When they weren't saving the world, the teenagers would hang out at the Angel Grove Youth Center, training in martial arts, lifting weights, doing gymnastics, or just enjoying a juice. A young woman with a calm and composed attitude. No one would ever have guessed that Trini was fearful of anything. But she did have one fear: a fear of heights. But when she saw Billy in trouble, with a tremendous effort she put aside her own fear to help him, showing just how truly kind-hearted she is. Being a Ranger at this time meant one was thrown into some very strange places. One of these was an island of illusion, where once again Trini had to face her fear of heights. With the other Rangers' help, she was able to accomplish this. Trini was also placed under a spell where, for a time, she lost all of her confidence. Thankfully, she was able to remember previous battles and overcame this spell. She fought many battles against Rita and defeated her time and time again. She was very close to her fellow Rangers, particularly Kimberly, connected through being the only female team members. And of course, she had a great friendship with Billy, connected through their scientific intelligence and kind, passive natures. She would often also help translate for Billy when his speech got a little too technical for the others in the group. Trini was always by Billy's side when he was working on various devices to defeat either Rita Repulsa or Lord Zed. She enjoyed Zack's high spirits, and she was always found supporting Jason in his various martial arts matches. Before long, life would change drastically for Trini. A World Teen Summit was coming to Angel Grove and was going to select 3 teens from the city to attend the Peace Summit in Switzerland. This chance to do good and make a difference to the world without fighting appealed to Trini's kind-hearted nature. She was selected along with Jason and Zack to attend. Trini had served the Rangers well, and with Zordon's blessing, she transferred her power to Aisha Campbell and left for the World Peace Summit. Now, in the show, that is of course the last we ever see of her, but in the Boom Studios comics, this story only really begins when the trio leave for the conference. In this version of the story, the Peace Conference is just a cover story for what they were really doing. They became the Omega Rangers, essentially carrying out Power Ranger duties on a larger scale, more galactic than Earth-based. It's pretty awesome, and if you want to follow that story, you need to check out the comics by Boom Studios. Now, a Mighty Morphin Yellow Power Ranger does actually appear twice in future seasons: Super Mega Force and Beast Morphers, although it's never actually revealed if it's Trini under the helmet or Aisha. It could genuinely be either of them, as in the Power Transfer episode, we see both of them in a morph state at the exact same time, so they must still both have access to their powers, right? Who knows, this has never actually been confirmed, but it's fun to discuss. If you have a theory on this matter, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. Okay, that's it for the story of Trini KWAN. She's a truly legendary Ranger, and it's so sad that actress Toy Trang was lost at such a young age. At least she lives on in the hearts and memories of millions of Power Ranger fans, even now, over 25 years later. Zack Taylor was a student who attended Angel Grove High School. A very enthusiastic, upbeat person, he was very close with his friends, Jason Lee Scott, Billy Cranston, Trini KWAN, and Kimberly Ann Hart. Zack is a prankster and particularly enjoys holidays such as Halloween to scare his friends. In contrast, he was greatly afraid of bugs and snakes, a fear he partially conquered when he fought the monster Spidertron. He enjoys dancing at every chance he gets and even developed his own fighting style, hip-hop Kido, which he occasionally taught. As a close friend to both Jason and Tommy, all three like to work out together and practice their martial arts. Zack served as Jason's second-in-command prior to the arrival of Tommy and his becoming of the White Ranger, and eventual leader of the team. When Rita Repulsa had been released and her intention was to take over Earth, Zack and his friends were chosen by Zordon to defend Earth as the Power Rangers. Although initially dismissive of being chosen, Zack soon discovered that he was right for the job. Zack became the Black Mighty Morphin Power Ranger and controlled the Mastodon Power Coin and Mastodon Dinozord. Throughout the remainder of the first season, Zack attempts to gain the affections of his fellow school student named Angela, though she would turn him down several times before conceding to go on a date with him. When their date was ruined by a monster attack, Zack's chances with Angela seemed slim. However, he refused to give up and succeeded in making amends with her after several ruined attempts, earning a kiss on the lips for his effort. When Lord Zedd came to Earth for his own ambitions, Zordon gave the Rangers new Zords to battle Zedd's more powerful monsters. Zack gained control of the Lion Thunderzord. Later on, a peace conference was soon held and to be attended in Switzerland, and only 3 teenagers could be selected to go. Zack, along with Jason and Trini, were selected. With his zest for living, an upbeat attitude and charm, Zack was the natural choice at the peace conference. 3 of their friends, Adam Park, Rocky DeSantos, and Aisha Campbell, would replace them as the Power Rangers. Zack's last Ranger mission was to find the Sword of Light, which he would use to transfer the Rangers' powers. Adam became Zack's successor and the new Black Ranger. His current whereabouts following his return from the peace conference is currently still unknown. As he never returned to being a Ranger before the legendary battle, it is assumed he returned to a normal life. Zack and the other Mighty Morphin Power Rangers returned, with his powers somehow fully restored, as part of the army of legendary Rangers led by Tommy that helped the Mega Rangers defeat the Armada once and for all, fighting in a huge battle against hundreds of X-Borgs and dozens of Bruisers. Even though it's not officially revealed if Zack was the Black Ranger at the time, and not Adam, as both of them share the Mastodon Power Coin, a Black Ranger does respond to his old teammate's signal and returned alongside fellow Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as part of the legendary Dino Rangers army. When Evox summoned his massive Chimera Zord, his team joined in summoning the Megazord and aiding in its defeat. With Evox on the run once again, the teams departed. Again, still not confirmed whether that was Zack or Adam as the Black Ranger. Well, that is actually pretty much everything we have about Zack. Of course, there could be a bunch more information on his character if we were to follow the Boom Studios comic books, but that may take a while. If you want to stay up to date with the recent comic book releases, then you can check out my summary videos on them, which are always released the same day as the comics. Zack is one of my favourite Rangers ever, and it's a shame that we never really got to see him return in the show having a proper cameo, like the second Black Ranger Adam got to do when he used his broken morpher to save Carlos in Power Rangers in Space. Would you guys like to see a full reunion of the original cast one day in a future episode, or maybe even movie? Let us know in the comments down below. Okay guys, that's it for today's video. Again, I apologise if there is any differences in the audio quality. Like I said, that Jason Lee Scott video was the first video I ever made on this channel, so if I sound a little different and the audio quality is a little worse, hopefully you understand why. I really hope you still enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time on the 6th Ranger.